one of these amazing stories, of which there are well over 100. And it is a true story that is known to every student of history in the land known as Lesotho. There was a great king. The king's name was Mosheosheo. Mosheosheo was a priest king. He was a man who was both a healer and a king. Mosheosheo was getting old, and he had received many wounds in battle, fighting to protect his people against invaders. One day, Mosheosheo was in his house when somebody knocked on the door frame of the house. And Mosheosheo asked the intruder to come in. And into their hut there came a frightening being, a being whose face was as white as the face of death, a being which wore a hood over its head, a being with unnaturally wide shoulders, a being who wore a long robe of sable antelope skin. This being squatted near the entrance of the hut in which Mosheosheo was, and the being told Mosheosheo that he was to take one of his golden earrings, the earrings of kingship, and go on foot for a long distance to find a young man known as Dipoko, and to give him this earring. But what are you saying, great one? Said Mosheosheo, utterly terrified by this unearthly being. You are saying that I, Mosheosheo, must go and find this boy and make him my successor? And the being said, yes, we, your forefathers, order you to do this. Mosheosheo was thunderstruck. He tried to argue, because Mosheosheo had sons whom he was hoping would succeed him after death. Now he was now being told to go and seek out a strange young man and make him future king of the Basotho people. And as Mosheosheo tried to speak, the terrible tall being stood up in the hut and threw a handful of black powder on into the fireplace. There was a terrible flash, a burst of white smoke, and as Mosheosheo shielded his eyes, the being left the hut. On the following day, Mosheosheo told his people this in a council meeting, and the people advised Mosheosheo to obey. You are the king, Mosheosheo. You have been our king for a long time. You are blameless and you are as brave as a lion. But against the gods, what can you do? And thus it was that King Mosheosheo was given a tame ox by his people, And he rode on the back of this ox, accompanied by 2 of his best warriors. And he went out to seek this strange boy whom he had been ordered to make future king of the Basutos. He found the boy with his companions high up on a mountain. The boy was a bandit. He lived by stealing cattle from rich men. He was a typical black Robin Hood. And Mosheosheo greeted this boy, Dipoko, and he pinned his golden earring to Dipoko's right ear and said, "I am commanded by the spirits of my forefathers to appoint you, Dipoko, future king of the Basuto people. I am told that you are going to make this nation great. I am told that you are going to protect it. I, Mosheosheo, the armed one, have spoken." Mosheosheo left Dipoko, and Mosheosheo sickened and died some time later. And the man named Dipoko, a young man, a cattle-stealing bandit, became known as King Mosheosheo, the first of the Basuto people. As the so-called God had spoken, it so did happen. Mosheosheo, who had now discarded the name of Dipoko, which means disappointment, and assumed the name Mosheosheo, which means the barber or the beard shaver. Mosheosheo himself started seeing visions, and he started obeying the instructions of these visions that he should build a great nation out of the Basuto nation. He collected together all the fugitives who had fled from the wars in the Cape. He collected together all the refugees who had fled from the wars by Shaka in Natal, and he molded them into the nation known as the Basuto nation, which today inhabits the land called Lesotho. But wait, there is more to the story of Mosheosheo. Mosheosheo was under attack by the Afrikaners, and one day he received another vision, a vision that told him that if his people were to be saved, he had to place himself and his people under the protection of Queen Victoria. And he did just that. When I was a child, when I was a young scholar, the land today known as Lesotho was known as the Basuto Land Protectorate. Here was a king actually destroying his sovereignty as a ruler.